What is something that daddy always tells you? Like you memorize it, you know it like it's off the top of your head. You know what daddy's going to say.
Every time I come from football, he always tells me to go and leave.
All right.
It's part of the discipline.
Yeah. I mean, daddy telling you the right thing. I mean, in order to be a nice, big, strong man that is all these things, you have to take care of hygiene. Hey guys, welcome back to Fathersday Conversation Season 3, and here we are. We are looking forward to some great conversations with people in the shop from all across Jamaica, some different influencers, some general people that were just coming in the shop and want to talk about some great topics, and we want you to come along with this journey with us as we move into a great season. Looking forward to great things. Hey guys, welcome back to Fathersday Conversation Season 3, and in this first episode we're going to be talking about dads, fathers and the roles they play in people's lives. And we invited some fathers to come in, and then we met some fathers in the shop having some quality time with their sons. We asked their sons some questions, asked the dads some questions about fatherhood, and we got some great information out of both the kids and the dads. So let's check it out. So a big part of the Saturday ritual for a lot of dads is that they take them son to the barber, and you're gonna get that bonding time, that alone time away from mommy. Sometimes that a lot of us don't get to do. You're working hard, you're so busy. Sometimes when you're awake, they're asleep. So when you kind of take your son to the barber shop, like, describe why you do that or why you go to your way to do that part of the.
Well, I see that as part of my responsibility. You know, it's a bonding experience. We get to, after they come to the barber shop, we'll monitor each other's haircut, you know, and it gives you that connection with your sons. I'm a father of 3 sons, so yes, it's the middle one. It's important to find time and make time for them. And after the barbershop, Saturday we go on the road, do something, probably take them to a fast food place or something. You know, so it's really important to create that bond.
Good. And I mean, I'm a father of 2 daughters, so I can't really identify with the experience. I appreciate you going in detail with it. But it's just fatherhood in general. I mean, to be honest, it's something that is not spoken about enough. A lot of people will say, you know, Father's Day is not as big as Mother's Day, but we play a very important role. And I personally think I'm seeing a little bit of a shift in terms of how fathers take care of their children these days. What do you think about that? And why do you think it's happening?
No, definitely. It's a major change. I mean, we growing up, we would not have recognized that Father's Day is of any importance. But you're seeing a big change now, where even the mothers are making a big deal out of Father's Day.
Right.
And we realize that you go in places and you're seeing fathers and daughters, fathers and sons. So your fathers are really stepping up and playing an important role in their child's life. So it's important.
Cool. It's important. What do you think was the difference between probably when we were growing up and now where that is concerned? As in, why do you think fathers are playing more of a role now than they did probably a decade or 2 ago, or 2 decades or 3 decades ago?
You know, it's a good question, because it's I don't know what would have caused that. I know it was work, because personally my father worked out. I mean worked overseas. I see like 2 or 3 months for the year. You know, so my mom was a dominant person, the person I know. And you know what? Persons who have experienced that would have probably make a decision that I'm going to be present for my child. My father was not there. I could have learned more from him.
Right. So
I'm going to be present. So I think the onus is on us now as younger fathers. Saying we're not going to make that, I wouldn't say mistake, but we're not going to take that decision.
Right.
We're going to be more present in the life of our children, so we can have that bond. And when they grow up, it will continue. There'll be a situation where they will say, my father was not there, so I won't be there.
Exactly.
Well, because we could have said that.
Yeah,
you know?
That's true.
My father was working out, but balance was difficult because he was miles away, overseas, across the waters. So we are here present, we need to be present.
Exactly. I mean, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day about it, and I mean, because all of the friends that I have that are fathers, they're very present, they're very protective, they like to show the way to their kids, and I think that's just very different from, you know, what it was growing up. So for me personally, my mother was the person that I lived with my entire life, and I saw her having to make some very hard decisions, not just in terms of money and those kind of things, but time. So because she was always working, kind of take care of herself, I said, you know what, I didn't want to repeat that for my kids. So because didn't see certain things growing up. We probably saw it on TV and we're like, oh, you know what? That is what I want life to be like, and we just made a decision to be like that. So I think that probably has a lot to do with the shift, but like I said, us changing that narrative I think is a very, very important thing, especially with the country that we want to see in another 20 and 30 years, because they're going to end up taking care of us at some point in time. You know? So it's really what life wants to be like later down. What was a complete surprise to you about being a father? Your oldest son is how old now?
14.
14. So you've been in it for a minute. I see you're raising a teenager.
The surprise is, yes. The surprise is, I mean, it's no longer about you. Once you become a father, things change. You're no longer the center of the universe.
That's true.
The children are. It's about them. It's about living for them, doing things so that they can be comfortable, they can be happy.
Right.
So you're used to this me time that don't really exist. You know, yeah, you'll find time for yourself, but you think about the family.
Right.
That time you used to go and probably hang out with your friend, play football, dominoes, whatever it is. It's cut. But it's cut for a good reason.
Right.
Because, you know, creating a bond with children that you need to create a bond with, you're providing this training for them that when they get older, they will know that, yes, this is how we should operate. It's not, I wouldn't, what I do is operate in compartmentalize it. That's what I do.
Same thing I do. Yeah, man.
This time it's
this
for
time
them.
this
This time is for work.
that.
This time, right.
Right.
So I deal with that, and it works. It works because you spend time on a job which you need to take care of them, and you spend time with them which they need to know that you are there for them.
Right, exactly. Now, man, the compartmentalization is a massive part of it for me personally. I mean,
very important.
Like you said, there has to be some amount of structure to it. If you let things just kind of run fluidly, then you realize something is going to drop off somewhere. But as long as you get time to do what you need to do in different parts, and they understand that as well. It's not that they don't understand that daddy's not busy or those kind of things, but they appreciate the small things probably even more than we would at some point in time.
Very much so.
30 minutes and just sit down and just talk, have a conversation with them, watch them play a game or something to that effect. That means the world to them. 30 minutes out of a day probably wouldn't mean much to us in another type of context. So trust me, it's something that I've had to see. It touched on something very important because a lot of parents will get, bogged down with the fact that it's not really about you anymore and you're kind of living for your children at some point in time. And I know that can take a mental toll on some parents. So tell me about that. Have you had to struggle with that in your talk?
Knowing that compartmentalization is important with that in that regard, because going into it, I say the struggle is, people say the struggle is real as it relates to it's not about me anymore. But when you put some structure into it, and I operate in what is called blocks of time, you know, this is how I operate, and it get rid of the struggle and you relieve of the stress. Okay, if you are just saying, oh, it's not about me anymore, it might be a mental thing.
Yeah, man. So how do you
you're not there for them.
Right. So how do you protect your mental health while still being a good father? I think that's probably a better question.
Okay. I do things with my children, naturally, and I do things with me, things that I know. I will go out and I will take turns to my wife. We'll say, all right, it's Friday. I want to go out. You're going to go out. Last night I was with some of my colleagues, play dominoes. You know. Tonight my wife will be out at a company event and I'll be home with the boys. So I do things with them, I do things for me and for the family.
Right.
So it sort of
it enriches every sector of your life.
Right.
So and I think that's the structure I take too. I mean, we're working very hard and there's a lot of back and forth, but there has to be some amount of compromise at some point in time.
Must be. Compromise is important. You can't, yes.
Yeah, I think
that's the word. Sacrifice and compromise.
Compromise, right, exactly. So I think that was one of the bigger things about being a father that I realized it has to do with a lot of compromise. You'll still be able to balance the things that you wanted to do before. Some things you will give up completely, some things you will outgrow completely, but in growing him, some things have to be outgrown at some point in time, and I'll set a good example. So that's one of the things that's very, very important that I've seen. Omari, I have a question about Daddy.
Omari. What's your question?
Does Daddy cook? What do you like?
Speak.
Yes, Daddy does cook. Okay. So what do you like when Daddy cooks? Does Daddy cook for you? Does Daddy cook anything that you like? Dumpling. All right, cool. All right, so that is the favorite thing that Daddy cooks that you like. When Daddy makes dumpling, you're happy. We see a lot of things happening when it comes to kids that are in high school now and the whole grooming thing and all of those kind of things. Like how do you tell him, how do you navigate having a teenage son in this era of social media and all of those kind of things? So those things weren't things that we had to contend with growing up, but our parents still made it seem like having a teenage boy was very difficult. How do you deal with that now? Like, is there anything that you do with your son now?
So you can imagine it, that's what we, adding to what we, well, as teenagers, our parents, the struggles that they said they had, adding the internet world, the connectivity, social media, the dressing,
yeah.
you know, it's a lot, but when you have the conversation, because once they get older, they start understanding the conversation. Yes, this is how the boys in your class look, but how do you see me dress when I go to work? Now, what type of work do you want to do when you get older? You know, you think you can go to work dressing like that? You know, and even with the bleaching is a problem in school too.
Yeah, that's true.
If it makes sense, how do you go to work looking like that? So you're going to school for a reason, you know, and he understands. He's sensible, he's a very smart kid. He understands. You're going to school so you can get an education, so you can get a good job. You know, if you're going to work, you have to look like, if you're going to be in a professional way, you have to look like, look. So you can't dress like that. It's part of grooming in school is to prepare you for the world.
True.
You know,
Very
so
true.
having the conversation is important. It's a challenge because they want the hairstyle, they want the tight pants, they want, you name it. But it's work in progress. And you know, once they see you not doing it, and they see other your relatives or close friends not doing it, it will help them to understand that it's not necessary to survive. But they go through the phase. It's just a matter of holding their hands and walking them through, being there for them, being present for them, and helping them to understand that that's not the right path.
Good.
You know, so it's a challenge, but it's something that we can work with. Once we're there, we can have a conversation with the youth. It will work.
I like that. I like that. All right, cool. Appreciate it, my G. Thank you.
All right.
I want to say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. Basically, with my experience, I wasn't raised by neither side, mother nor father. So being a father, it's very exciting. It's very phenomenal, taking care of my daughters, being their protector, being their provider, being their source in every area, being their friend, especially to communicate and to relate with them whenever they ask questions. You know, it's really a phenomenal thing to be a father. And I'm very proud, knowing that I don't grow up with mother or father or siblings, but I'm very proud to be a father. And I know that within me, the skills of being a father is there. And also, not just being a father, but I have a heavenly Father that is above me. I got saved, gave my life to the Lord Jesus Christ, and I'm telling you that being a father in the womb is very important. Nowadays, we realize that when father is not in the home is desolate. So I implore to every fathers out there that no matter how the circumstances might look, no matter how you might feel despondent or you might feel a bit believing that you cannot have the capability of being a father, I implore you today that you can change this world system if you spend time with your child. You don't have to have much sometimes, because I know all the economists say the inflation rate is high, everything is going chaos. But whatever little you have, you ensure that you support your child. And the most fundamental thing is I want to implore the fathers in Jamaica land and across the diaspora that the best thing you can ever do is to spend time with your child, listen to what your child says, give them the opportunity to have their freedom of expressing how they feel. And when they ask you a question, you must always be there to give an answer. That's all I know a father is supposed to be.
Yeah, man. So, what are your greatest joys about being a dad?
Being present, being able to see their milestones move from one step to the other. I mean, so far I've enjoyed every aspect of it, from the pregnancy stage, hearing the heartbeat, the delivery, first cry, first set of tears, first laugh, first step.
Yeah.
It's about just being able to being present.
I agree. Couldn't agree.
And enjoy each one of the milestones. So yeah, that is one of the greatest joys for me.
As a busy man, because I know you do many things,
Yeah.
how is it that you manage to be present this much while still balancing being very busy and being productive and making the money to feed the family and all of those things?
It's difficult. But I just try to let them feel my energy all the time. Whether it be in the morning or late in the night. Obviously, sometimes I come home, they're sleeping.
Yeah.
I literally go and nudge them a little, just to know that I'm there.
Okay.
In the morning, I ensure that they get up in the morning, have their breakfast. Sometimes they go out and play football with me. Just trying to be there as much as the time. It's 24 hours in a day, so I try my best.
Right.
It's hard sometimes, difficult with the job and other business, but I have to make it work.
Agreed. I mean, one of the things that I heard was, one of the other fathers said earlier, was about compartmentalizing your time. So like you say, okay, cool, it's time for work, and if I give them 30 minutes, if I give them 20 minutes, then they will genuinely appreciate that 20 minutes and you just use what you have.
Compartmentalization of the time is difficult to do, especially when they are their self. They have their routine too.
Right.
So I try my best to fit into it as well. Sometimes I say, lock off the iPad, lock off the PlayStation. That is time now,
Agreed.
But sometimes it's not doing anything. It's just being in the presence, feeling the osmosis effect, the energy, the flow energy. So yeah, that is definitely.
Agreed. So in terms of, or what was one of the big surprises to you about being a dad that you didn't expect? You didn't see that on TV, you didn't see that growing up. What was one of the big surprises of that you found?
Feeling your belly button twist up and turn when you hear them drop. It's a connection that's there. The umbilical cord cut, but trust me, there is that energy, that connection between them. So that is probably the only thing. Everything else I really expected. And yes, you hear stories and you listen to other people's experience, but in all, parenthood is practically the same.
How many kids do you have?
Three. Two girls and a son.
What's the difference between raising a daughter and raising a son?
Rough him up. There's a difference. He feel my masculinity. The girls, they feel the emotional side. They hug up and they kiss up side. I mean, I do hug and kiss him up sometimes, but in reality, it's just growing them a little different.
A little bit rougher.
Yeah, a little more. You can get far more testosterone than the other girls.
Fair enough. I have to have two daughters, so I can't identify when they take your son to Barbershop thing and all that.
No. Saturdays, I try to make my Saturday free.
Okay.
I mean, Nico has been my barber from I've moved to Mobile, but in reality, this is more than just barbering.
Right.
And cutting his hair, it's just fellowship and just father and son bond. I mean, the girls are different. I take them to dancing. First one now, she's in the gym now, so make sure she, make sure she enroll in the gym, make sure she's there, make sure she have her gears, that kind of thing.
Okay, cool. Got you. All right, and I always had this envisionment in my mind. I say, okay, cool. So when your son run and drop, you say, man, get up, man. And then when your daughter run, you just, oh my God. I figure that is a different little change than you're raising a son than a daughter.
I mean, it varies because trust me, he has had a couple hot drops, significant, where you have to think twice so that you're going to do an X-ray.
MRI.
You feel it, you have to give him some love there. But in reality, he gets far more testosterone from me, than the girls.
What is something that Daddy always tells you? Like he memorizes, you know it like it's off the top of your head. You know what Daddy's going to say.
Every time I come from football, he always tells me to go and leave.
All right, cool.
It's part of the discipline.
Daddy telling you the right thing. I mean, in order to be a nice, big, strong man that is all these things, you have to take care of hygiene. Does Daddy cook at all? Does Daddy cook?
Sometimes.
Is there anything that Daddy cooks that you like?
Yes.
Tell me something that Daddy cooks that you like.
The shrimp.
Shrimp? Alright. What kind of shrimp do you make, Daddy? What kind of shrimp do you make?
Here it's cooked down. Butter shrimp, garlic, Curry. Yeah. I thought you were going to say omelette because you love the omelette, but it sure works.
Does that do anything that makes you laugh? Does that do anything that makes you laugh?
Tickle me.
Tickle you? So you see, you still have a balance the testosterone with all of them things there. That's fine, that's good, that's good. Yeah. Is there a favorite memory that you have with Daddy?
When we went to the river and stuff and like we go to the beach and when I'm alone with me and Dad and the girls at my dad, me and my dad play FIFA a lot.
Very good.
But normally my dad always beats me.
I can only guess what team your dad is using. Don't worry, sorry. I think we all kind of know. What's your favorite football team?
Chelsea.
All right, cool. All right, good stuff. A lot of people, when they talk about being a father, or when you become a father, they talk about the sacrifice that you make personally and the compromise you make personally, because it's not really about you anymore. It's about more or less them. How do you handle the pressures of you being busy in the day and the mental health pressure that is without being a father, and then it's not really, they won't really get a lot of you time. How do you deal with that pressure from a mental health perspective?
Well, I don't call it a pressure.
Okay.
You need help, you need a support structure.
Agreed.
Luckily for us, we have grandma.
Amen.
And we have, other helps around. So that definitely assists the whole process and relieves some of the stress. So you have less chores or duties to do before attending to them.
Okay.
So that definitely helps. Yeah.
Okay. And I know the support structure.
It's vital. It's
key.
Vital. Key.
Like,
and you remember that you're also independent. You need time for yourself.
Exactly.
So
still, you're a child.
You're a child.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's not precious. I've never, ever, in all the 13 years of being a parent, felt pressure. But parenthood, never. Never.
That's good. What is it like raising a child in this age where it's completely different from when we were growing up? Like, it's social media. So you have a teenager, right? What is it like raising a teenager today in the age of social media? Everything's digital, they're online, what is it like? What is that part of the struggle? And they're now, she's in high school now.
Yeah, the first one is in high school.
Okay, cool. So what is it like raising a teenager now today?
Well, I've never done it before. So it's new to me, I can just imagine what my mother went through when we had the age of cassettes or going to parties. It's just different era, different scenarios, Just bob and weaving, rolling with a punch, trying to censor material that their young mind is not ready for. The internet in itself, back in my time versus now, is totally different. The speed at which information flows from just a click of a button is remarkable. So it is difficult to censor adult materials that they are so exposed to, and a lot of lifestyle is being imposed on them.
That's true.
When I go on YouTube with them, I see, I try not to be judgmental or to any society, but there are certain lifestyle that I don't believe in.
Agreed.
As a Christian, and that you see it pop up constantly. The Disney that I know is not the Disney of today. The Disney growing up was with the Huxtables and the mother and the father. Now you're having modern family with 2 men, 2 women raising a family, and I don't believe in that. And that goes against my principles. So I have to work a little harder to try and censor it to them. But they see what's around them in their household. And from that, I guess, you can only guide them.
Yeah. I've realized that as well, because it's almost impossible to censor everything.
You can't.
I mean, there's just so much access to things, and they learn these things so quickly as well, because it's the age that they're growing up in. I've literally had to just kind of keep an ear out sometimes when you hear a YouTube video playing that you just say they don't agree with it. It's like, what are you watching? And sometimes they don't even know what they're watching because the videos are just coming up one after another. So they started out watching one thing and it spirals into something completely different. Like I recount a scenario all the time where I heard, I put on one thing for Imani to watch, and when I came back into the living room, there was this young lady on the screen. She probably was in her early teens, and she was pretending to be sick. And then she was sick and went to the bathroom, and it was my 5-year-old daughter was watching a pregnancy prank. Like she was pulling a pregnancy prank on her boyfriend. I'm like, yo, no, please go back to Ryan's World and watch this toy because that's what you should be watching. And all of these things are just there and they're just taking in this information. So it is a difficult thing for us to navigate and then try and manage it and monitor the time. But all we can do is set a good example. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, if it just guide, you know, set a certain Christian principle. Because at the end of the day, you must have a faith to hold on to. Because times are going to be difficult. I tell them all the time, all three of them, life is not fair. And the moment you realize life is not fair, you're able to navigate through any scenario, you know? It's not a given.
Right.
You know, I tell them all the time, I can't give them anything they want, but I'm not going to do it. You know, they must understand that they have to work for what they believe in and work for what they want and put in the energy. You know?
All right. Seeing more fathers just being present in kids' lives these days, just in general. And as a matter of fact, any of my friends that are fathers, I can say, oh, these are good dads. What do you think is the difference now than it was probably a few years ago, and why do you think that narrative has changed? As a matter of fact, you professionally are in dealing with pediatrics and those kind of things. You're seeing more fathers coming in with mothers and those kind of things?
I mean, in the antenatal visit, there could be a lot more fathers, let's put it that way.
Okay.
I do see a few, but not a lot. But again, men have to work. So, and the time when the office is in the work period, you know?
Right.
So sometimes it's very difficult.
Right.
But I'm glad you mentioned it. I'm seeing a lot more fathers nowadays with their kids in their hand. You know, on the back, on the bicycle. I'm seeing it more, but I'm not sure if because I'm looking out for it too. You know, when you see a different color car, every time you see it.
Everywhere. Yeah.
But I think a lot of men now in their 30s have been let down by their fathers, and they're trying to make amends. I mean, personally, I believe my father could have done more. You know, my mother basically raised me as a single mother. So I tried my best, obviously, to make them feel my presence right through the clock.
Right.
And I think that's probably happening with other men in our age bracket, you know. So maybe that's one contributor factor, or just, you know, I don't know. I guess I don't have a real answer to that.
Come on, it's not really about. We're not going for facts here. I'm just trying to understand perspective, because from what I've seen, that caused a shift, and I said it to a gentleman earlier that because I saw my mother have to make some hard decisions, it's not only based on money but time as well. I kind of put myself in a position where she shouldn't have to make that decision.
And I think that's it. I think the generation before, the fathers kind of let us down, you know. And I think we're trying to make amends. Okay. I think that's what it is.
No, not in the barbershop. Mostly mothers bring their kids to the barber.
Mothers still bringing the kids. So even though dads are doing more, still moms bringing the kids. What that tells me, there's still a lot of moms doing those kind of things while dads are out there. Why do you think that's the case?
Because that's what I see is happening. Most of the mothers bringing their kids.
So you think it's a situation where fathers just don't deal, like mothers just deal with kids and then kids are, and then the fathers are probably working on it?
Yeah, I think the fathers are working. More busy.
They're still present in the kids' lives.
Yeah, they might be present, yeah.
I mean, I think that's one of them. That's one of those activities. Because I have daughters, I don't get a chance to do that, and I always see when men do that and bring them something to the barbershop and be like, I love that. That's cool. I like to see that. But you may be very, very right. Like I do see a lot of mothers in here with them kids very regularly. So,
No. Favorite treat?
Treat.
Skittles.
Skittles. Okay, cool. What flavor Skittles? Which color?
There are green, there are red, there are purple, there are, I don't know.
There's an orange one, right? No? Which one tastes the best? Which one's your favorite?
The green one, because it's sour.
Okay.
And I
Thank you. So what do you enjoy the most about being a dad?
The challenge part of it.
The challenge. What about it is that challenge?
You know, say, the challenge is the strongest thing. So, being a father, complicated. I have to do it. I have to go out there and make sure I'm good.
True. I like that.
Man, so I love the challenge.
Good. Love when you don't back down from them things. That's good, my brother. Alright, so we're seeing more and more young men being fathers, good fathers, them trying to go out there and actually put it forward for them son and set a good example. Why do you think that's happening?
You never have a father. You know what I mean? I'm man, my father, and full time now, so we have to
good, man. I want to set it a certain way where them know what good fathers are like, so they can be good fathers.
Show them love. We never used to get it, so
true.
Show them love. True.
So, because of that, like, what is one of those things where you want him to do? That apart from taking him to a barbershop, is there anything that you do to spend time with him specifically?
Well, most of my time still I work, so if we get a little time, I can sit down with him and just raise with him. Yeah, I do that, but occasionally I take him out, like birthday and you know what I mean? Yeah, but not every day.
Okay.
I'm off work.
Cool. Can get that. Is there anything that you always tell him? Like, some people fathers tell them about time, or that is like a one set thing where you can say like.
Yeah, mama, I always tell him, say, you see how daddy work? Say, you have to do it. You understand? Taking your work, your school work, as you know, I have no time to spend with you, you see me. You know what I mean? So taking your education right now.
Okay.
He's kind. Like he comes home and spends time with me and my mom and my baby sister.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us for this episode of Faded Conversations. We know you loved it, so like, subscribe, do all of those wonderful things on YouTube, and we'll see you next time. Check it out.